Is SaaS dead? What does it really mean to a product manager, right? If SaaS is dead, what are you then going to work on?
Folks, we have an industry expert here today with us, and actually, I'm super excited that we get the opportunity to connect with, product leaders like Murli. Murli, if you're here, if you can wave a hi, and we can have you on video.
I am on video, and I'm not sure if you can see me.
I can see you well now. Yes,
There you
yes.
go. Wonderful.
Awesome. So, folks, we have Murli here. He is the founder of Helix. And I think, Murli, last week or so, Helix was on, #1 on Product Hunt. It was so good to see this. And it has, even surpassed ChatGPT, the new model that had come in, right? So happy to see that. And the amount of experience and the decades of experience that you come here with, right? We are definitely obliged to have you here. And the audience that we have here, they have been with us for the last 2.5 hours. They might be, I think they have had a good, heavy session till now. But yeah, we would love to know about your insights and overall, since you've built SaaS businesses and overall your thoughts on SaaS as well, right now with AI coming in. So I will hand it over to you, and if you can share a bit about your journey as well, right? This will help the folks that we have here a lot in terms of understanding about you as well. I'll share Murli's LinkedIn as well, just on chat if people want to connect with you.
No problems at all, actually. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to your cohort. I haven't had a lot of introduction about the cohort, and it was literally yesterday, or no, day before yesterday, we decided that we will actually have this session. If they've already bored with lots of topics, we can keep it really light. And primarily, my experience is really, I'm a technologist at heart. Taking technology products into the market is something that I have been doing for the last decade. And before that, primarily transformation, business transformation with large scale sort of ERP rollouts and things like that was my history. Without going too much into the depth, I suppose, what's the age group that we have now? Is it mostly under 30s, or are we talking more 40 plus?
No. I think it will be between 25 to 35. Majorly, we have people who are already product managers here, product managers, senior PMs. So that kind of audience is what we have. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Because I don't know how much I can go into the past, how technology used to work, but yeah, if you're really 25 to 35 and product managers, you have certainly lived completely different technology landscape compared to what I have. Great. I guess a little bit about myself in terms of what I've done from a product perspective. I've launched a low-code platform almost like 7 years ago, and that was acquired by a mining software company. It's really, if I had known how important product management is 7 years ago, I would have done a lot of things differently. So I must say the job of product management is super important. I'm really glad that there's so many people now getting into product management and really paying so much attention about product management. Why do I say that? I've done all the wrong things. I've really embraced technology. I thought you can really create any product in a low-code fashion, and realized you really can't do that without going deeper about a specific area and a specific domain. And that's what eventually happened. We became a software, safety software company, as opposed to being a low code for creating any product. So yeah, I learned a lot along the journey, and as part of the safety software company that was acquired. We launched about 3 to 4 different products. Some succeeded, some didn't, and there's a lot of insights that I could really share around that as well. But we all know, build something that people want. It's easier said than done. Right? That's pretty much what I have been doing last 7 to 8 years. I guess that's probably enough. I'll jump straight into the topic. Apologies, I didn't quite get your name. Sorry. Who introduced myself? You're on mute.
Yeah. My name is Sakshi. Yes.
Sakshi, sorry. I just jumped in. I didn't even know who was going to really introduce me. Thanks, Sakshi. I suppose Sakshi already introduced that I have launched a product called Helix. That's really with the help of a passionate team based in Hyderabad. And we are quite excited to again share. It was an iterative journey. It was not easy. And we are quite happy that there is a lot of positive sentiment, but still finding product market fit is a journey. We're still in the early stages. We'll learn a lot. We do want to engage a lot of product managers to give feedback. So certainly connect with me on LinkedIn and we would be able to take your help in shaping our product as well. Now I will share my screen and talk about the actual topic we're supposed to be talking. Okay, I've got my full screen on. Let me share my screen. Allow. Do you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Sakshi. All right. So is SaaS dead? I guess we'll find out in a second. This topic is really about AI for product managers. I'm not going to talk about tools that exist and none of that. I'll explain what I will talk about in a second. But firstly, is SaaS dead? I'm sure you've seen that statement. I'm not going to stay on the contents page either. Why do we talk about this? It's this man. I love Satya Nadella. He said that SaaS is dead statement, and there's a lot of conversations happening around, is this really end of SaaS? And what does it really mean? What does it really mean to a product manager, right? If SaaS is dead, what are you then going to work on? What will you really create? We've been gearing ourselves up to create SaaS products, isn't it? Most of us as product managers, you'll be looking to build SaaS products. And now if SaaS is dead, what will you create? So it's an important question that you really explore in your mind to be able to answer that and have a clear line of sight what kind of products are going to be created in the future. So it's actually not end, it's a new beginning. Yes, software as a service has its time because of the fact we found a way of delivering pieces of software through web so that you have a single instance that is used by many companies and many users. We delivered software as a service through web. That's okay. But now it's a new beginning that a service that a human is involved can now be turned into software with the power of AI. That's essentially what is happening, as opposed to how in the past you would have created a traditional way of information gathering, distilling, and then presenting that for business purposes. You're now going to be able to bring intelligence into the mix and decision-making process and autonomous decisions embedded as though a human is actually working. So actual service performed by a human can be delivered as a software. So that means it's actually a new beginning for a massive market. I don't know if you've seen Sequoia's projection into how big is this market. There's about, if you sort of look at the trend there, 2010, 350 billion was the software market, right? And then 6 billion was the cloud market. So cloud was just in the early stages starting out. But then by 2024, cloud grew from 6 to 400 billion. That's our software as a service type of stuff, right? And then the overall software market only doubled. See how much of an impact cloud had in that 14 years. Now, if you expand that further, service as software, if you combine that, how big is the market? 10 trillion. At the moment, the AI software market is only about 3 billion, but there is 10 trillion is the market size. Where are we going to go? So thereby, as product manager, what you really have to be thinking is the products that you launch really need to be automating what a human would have done otherwise in the past, right? That's the kind of products that you as product managers really have to be thinking about. So how do we really imagine these products in the world of AI? I'm sure you've seen agentic world, the comments about how everything is going to be agents and how you can create new products as agents. How do you really go about creating a agent, right? Or even to go back to my point around a service being turned into a software. How do you go about it? And this is something that we as industry are still trying to figure out. So what I wanted to do is share my insights as part of my journey in creating Helix. Helix is also an agent. What's the purpose of Helix? Is to turn ideas into prototypes. Typically, that was done by a design engineer. Now, what you can do is instead of a design engineer, that means that's the service that we used to have before, can now be turned into a software, which is Helix. So as part of that whole journey, what have I learned? What is it that I can share with you? So that's the summary of what I'm about to share. So it's really about what do I see in terms of a agent like Helix? What are the core components of it? So I see the core components have how you as user interact with an agent. What are the interaction modes? Actors. Who are the actors involved in that specific agent for it to perform whatever it needs to perform? The example that I gave Helix is, well, it's the founder who can interact with the agent. There's probably other actors as well. So it's important to really understand the actors involved in, again, don't forget, we're turning a service into software. So that means there are going to be people in the past, which is what now we're turning into a product. And then how do you bring memory into your agent? That's something that you really need to think about. Does it matter for a product manager? Absolutely. Where does the knowledge and information come from is something that you really have to be thinking. Intelligence. How do you bring intelligence and what type of intelligence would you assemble with your agent with? And how do you then interact with your agent? And then what are the key insights and executive insights that you can really pack into your agent? So that's essentially what I see as the core components of an agent when you're thinking about a product that is really turning a service into software. Let me explore a little bit more as to what are these each of those topics. What are the interaction modes? Obviously, conversational is something that we are all sort of seeing chatbot experiences, and that's kind of evolving as we see products like Notebook LM or GPT Operator. There's conversational is really evolving into various different interaction modes, but it's important that even in the agentic world, visual interface is still important. Human always want to be in control. Whether you like it or not, that is mandatory. In order for the human to be in control, they have to see and make decisions. So visual interface is important. Search is going to be quite paramount in this whole agentic world as well. And how do you perceive how does the agent perceives the world, as in vision, whether it is the browser looking at screens, or I've been in mining space last few years. Vision is super powerful in really understanding, seeing what is happening in the real world, and get that as well, and also voice interaction mode. Obviously, we all have seen voice interaction modes as well. There is a hand up. Do we want to take the questions now or at the end? Sakshi, I guess I'm happy either way.
Maybe, yeah, we can take one quick question. Yeah.
Sure.
So what do you mean by vision here? Like it could be computer vision or something like you're doing an OCR. Like there could be multiple ways to define vision. So I just wanted to understand that thing.
Absolutely. I mean, this is not be all and all, right? As I said, with the example of an operator, what they're doing is they put the browser and they sort of keep looking at the screens. That is vision in that context. Whereas in the mining context, what we do is open a camera on your phone to see if there's any risky situations in the operations, right? So that's there. Or you can have a CCTV camera footage being constantly processed. So the point I'm trying to make is it's important when you're thinking about an agent, how do I really build all these interactive modes? Not just think agent is just a chat thing, right? You have to really be thinking about all these interactive modes as to how does my agent really become powerful. As product managers, what we are responsible is to really bring best experience to the user. And unless we think about all the interactive modes, we really can't create powerful agents or powerful products, which is our responsibility. Okay, moving on. Then what's really important is, especially if you're building products for enterprises, data sovereignty, security, there's a compliance, this whole bunch of concerns that we have. So how do we really go about building products that take all of these into consideration? So what's important is, okay, thinking about what are the interactive modes that you have for your agent, and also how you introduce set of actors, as in this is the organization structure that you're going to deal with, whether it's internal organization structure or external parties that you have, and what is the data ownership that each of these organization structure people are going to really have, whether your agent is going to make a decision, who do I contact for this specific information, or who do I really tell about this specific thing? That all depends. Your agent can make those decisions if it understands what is the organization structure that the agent is operating within. That's important, right? So ensure when you're building products, you're not just really thinking about the core use case. How do you bring people? How do you introduce people to your agents? What is the data ownership of those people? And that's important, so your agent then becomes a lot more smarter in decision making. To give an example, I think stories will probably convey better than concepts. There is a compliance product that we needed to create. And in terms of compliance, there's regulatory requirements. In order to meet those regulatory requirements, we need to know exactly who would have this specific piece of information. So the agent can go, hey, in order to comply, I have to publish this report by such and such time, and you will have to provide me with this set of details, right? So that's really a simple sort of example. Compliance products is going to be quite a common thing in the world of agents, but yeah, as an example, that is how by introducing agents, actors, and who in, have I been saying agents? Crap. Sometimes I just misplace words. Actors as opposed to agents. Yeah, I've been saying agents. Sorry, apologies. I mean to say introduce actors to your agents, meaning people who are involved in that whole business process end to end. I'm getting old. All right. Keep going further. How do we solve agent memory? Okay, so memory is a hard problem in general, but what's something that you really have to pay attention to is what is the memory that you really do not want it to be subjective, right? So there's certain thing that's mandatory, we have to follow, and that is going to be part of your system. And there is no sort of, without this memory, our agent is not going to be really successful in achieving the task. Whereas soft memory is based on interactions of the user. You're starting to collect some data and feedback, and then that is a little, I guess it can evolve as the time goes by, and then you can sort of look at, well, how much of this soft memory is really useful, and then push that into hard memory. So I guess it's a pattern that we are sort of really looking to develop as part of our own agent as well. But that's a pattern that we have adopted. So I just thought that'll be quite useful. I do need to go faster. Intelligence. So I think this is quite valuable in sharing this. Give me 1 second. Apologies. In terms of rules, again, if you are building products that you're taking to enterprises, there's certain rules that are hard rules. You cannot really go away without putting those rules, as in it could be data sovereignty related rules. It's almost like a policy statement in, if you're a technologist, AWS, you have policies that control who has access to what, right? So, but that kind of rules, you can embed them as hard rules. Whereas soft rules is where your agent can make a decision, and it's subjective decision. So that's where you can sort of define some soft rules, and even if the agent doesn't follow that, it's quite okay. So the way how we've gone about it is hard rules. Typically, we actually generate code for it, and then that code is embedded and it's always running. Whereas soft rules is still left to for the agent to sort of figure out along the way, and even if it gets it wrong, it's okay. So that's how we sort of delineate. I'm sure there's other methods as well, and then this is just really executive insights around what your agent is doing, collect data, and then you can make further judgment calls in terms of how best you can really tune your agent, as well as really show the performance of how well the agent is actually solving the problem to the business. Oh, I was supposed to get a few more slides, which I seem to have missed, but what I will do quickly, if you don't mind, pull, because that's the apologies for that. As I said, I was just rushing to do this in the last minute. There we go. Got now share window. It's a big paper, so I just didn't want to bore you guys with too much. But okay. So this is, I guess those are the pieces of a agent that we sort of looked at if you were to build new products that are more agentic. What are the types of agents that we see, right? So we kind of classified that into 4 different agents, like conversational. That's, I'm sure we've all seen that. Creative agent. Creative agent is where, I mean, don't limit yourself. The product managers, thinkers, dreamers. You really have to go a lot more creative about creative agents in that. It's not just a video and an image. It's really complex creation, whether it's a compliance document that needs to go to a regulatory body where 10 different people are involved. That's a creative agent. Or if you see Helix, that is turning a idea into prototype, that's a creative agent as well. So in terms of creative agents, the opportunity is endless. There's a lot of things that we can actually create. Also, what's important is to keep in mind that enterprises don't change that easy, right? So change is hard. So do think of creating some products that don't even have any user interface. Like they live as passive agents sitting behind the scenes. Perfect example is, well, as an organization, I really need to find skill, and I need to really match for the piece of task that I'm about to perform with a whole bunch of people who have done lots of stuff. So if you can create embeddings with all the organization charter and documents, you'll be able to figure out who's best who's best suited for a specific task. And even if you have a regular HRMS system, you can create a passive agent and push some insights into that for that regular system to really present something really powerful. So don't limit yourself that, if you're solving some enterprise related problems and change management is hard, you can achieve by really being creative in terms of creating some passive agents. So that's the passive agent sort of style. Active agents is the one that I get really excited, particularly around the this whole compliance matters. I think there is a question. We'll take the question first.
Hey Murli, hi. This is Sushil here. I just wanted to understand your thought on how soon do you feel that an agent on one enterprise will be talking to another agent on another enterprise. Let's say an agent from Salesforce is speaking to an agent from like an agent to HubSpot or an agent to an ERP, and like automating the whole value chain from, let's say, lead discovery to the conversion.
I think when you ask that question, there's probably quite a bit of thought process in terms of you're dreaming big, right? But at a really low level, right? I'll give you a simple example. I'm putting my property in the market, and the agent who's selling the property, he sends me ad copy, and I saw the ad copy. You know what? It's not really. It doesn't have the sense of urgency in that ad copy. So I told the guy, hey, look, I used ChatGPT. I said, can you please introduce urgency in this ad copy? So it added some stuff, and I said, okay, gave some more guidance, got the copy, and sent it back to the agent, the guy who's selling the property. And he says, oh, by the way, I actually used ChatGPT when I produced that content in the first place. So there was agent used, LLM used in producing that, and then even on this side as a receiver, it's the same intelligence again acting. I think we're already starting to do this, right? To what extent does it automatically talk to each other, and to what extent would we allow it? I think it especially enterprises, we are slow, right? So it's going to take time. The first and foremost, they're all really worried about even just deploying a agent internally to let the agent look at all the data. Ooh, well, what happens if salaries are read by an agent and someone asks a question and it gives all the salaries away? Right. So I think it's difficult in the enterprise context, but it will start to sort of happen in a subtle way, and then we'll see rapid change coming through as well. I mean, I don't know if you've used Operator. There's quite a bit of power, and now that's a different way of agent really going across different organizations. What do I mean by that? If you ask the operator to automate certain tasks, it could be your ERP that it needs to look at order details and then go extract these details, and then fulfillment is done by a third-party warehouse logistics company, I can log into that straight away and then perform that. So now agent is already doing cross-organizational automation, right? So it's quite rapid in some sense, but I think the dream of agents talking to each other and driving the whole world, I think, is a little bit far away, in my personal opinion, really.
Understood. And the reason I asked that question is because if you look into ServiceNow or Salesforce or any of these major enterprises, right? Most of the things that they are kind of they currently advertising are agents, right? So like another enterprise who's consuming services from this big companies, so most likely I feel that there would, like in near future, there would be a scenario where one agent is talking to another agent. I just wanted your 2 cents on the same. Thank you for clarification.
Oh, no problems at all, actually. I mean, no one has crystal ball in this, so these are all opinions. Thank you. The last one is the active agents. I believe, I guess that's really the most powerful one, where you introduce your organizational structure, as in the actors and data ownership, and then specify this is the objective that I want to achieve. Regularly, every 6 months, we have to produce a report and send it to board, right? That could be a objective. Now, ask various different, engage various different organization heads to collect data, automatically ask them to provide sources, engage them in the right way to collect information, then get your GM to really review all of that summary that produced and then push it to the board, right? So that kind of end-to-end automation with interacting different people within the organization actively, collecting data, and then performing certain tasks on a repeated mode. I think that's really where active agents sort of play, particularly with enterprises. You need that sort of structure that I was talking about in terms of how you introduce data ownership of various different actors and departments and so on and so forth, as well as how you can delineate between hard and soft sort of rules. Certain rules are hard rules. You just cannot not meet. So how do you go about those? Well, you can still use AI, but use AI more as a code, whereas soft rules can be really subjective, and you can let agent decide on the fly every single time. So that's really the summary of what I wanted to share. I mean, there's probably a lot more in the paper, but I guess that's what we have time for. And I think there is a question from Shishmit.
So what are the chances that hard rules are overridden, like in some certain scenarios? Or what is the, like you told, like soft rule can be overridden. So what is the percentage that we are overriding the soft rules or hard rules as per?
Yeah. So what I'm suggesting, again, this is my personal opinion. Hard rules are the rules that you don't let AI decide every single time it executes. What's happening is with hard rules, you let AI generate code. You let AI generate code that is validated, and that rule stays as code. So every single time, what's the likelihood of a piece of code executing differently? Once you say that's the code, and there's 100%, it executes exactly the same way, right? So that's what I mean by hard rules, right? Hard rules are generated as code and verified by the organization, whereas soft rules, they're not. They can still stay as simple text, and the agent sort of interprets on every single execution. So I hope I'm making sense.
Yes, so we may have made agent where we need human intervention also, right? Taking approval from human. So that will come under soft rule, and hard rule would be that cannot, we do not need any kind of human approval in it. It could be hard coded in backend. Understanding correct?
Well, hard coded, but not by a. So that's the reason you really have to build these agents with a high degree of interactivity. And that's the funny thing. I sincerely believe that's where product management really have to think a bit more deeper. Right now, products are like, okay, you tell one thing and they'll go off and do. No, that's not going to be the real world. The real world is you tell something and it goes back to interact with another human. It goes back and interact with another human. It goes back to interact with another human. So in the example of, the context of your question, first thing is, okay, this is what we really want to achieve from a objective. So that's what we define for an agent. And then it goes, okay, well, there's certain things that are required as hard rules. For those, who is the software architect in this organization? Because I'm going to generate some code for these hard rules, and the software architect has to approve the code generated matches the hard rules that is being set by the business person. See how the engagement is not at the level of just end user, even at the agent creation, agent definition, you're engaging the organization, right? So we really have to change the experiences of our product. Gone are the days where you created software, you compiled it, you tested it, you deployed, and then you took it to QA, SIT, all sorts of testing environments, and then production. But here, you can imagine a completely new world where you generate code which in production, which is then approved by a software architect or whatever role in the organization, and then it becomes the hard rule. That's the future I'm imagining. Well, again, as I said, it's one person's view in billions. But that's my insight.
Understood. Thank you so much.
No problems at all, actually. So I guess we are 7 minutes over.
Yes.
I guess back to.
Hey, hi, Murli. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Murli, that was really insightful. I think with the questions that the folks had here as well, right? This really helps in terms of what is going on. There is so much chatter around what's going to happen to SaaS and how things are built as well, right now, and how things will look like in the future. So this is super helpful, and Murli, look forward to connecting with you again, right, in some of the session. And thanks for coming in here on such a short notice. This helps us a lot. Especially the SPMs and PMs that we have here had quite interesting questions to ask you, right? Anything from you, Arun? I think we have, yes, Sushmit, Sushil.
Yeah, no, this was fascinating. Fantastic to hear. And it's always good to learn about new technology and especially evolving space of SaaS in general. So thank you so much, Murli, for taking time today for us. Yeah. So we have one question, I think, for Murli. Lekha, you can go ahead because we are out of time. Others, you can, if you have a question for Murli, feel free to ask it. And others, if you have questions, put this in the chat. We'll try to answer it on the chat.
Yeah. Hi, Murli. It was a great session, really. I'm actually from supply chain background, and I'm not exactly a PM as yet. I did attend a course for PM with product space. But my background, everything is very, very different from rest of the cohort, actually. My question is that I've been in supply chain throughout my life. And I was, the last position that I was holding was regional demand manager and I was taking care of 14 to 15 countries in the Middle East. I'm from Dubai. So my main problem at that time was like, I was the demand. I planned the demand for the entire region. I used to be in constant touch with the entire sales force, and then there's order the people who are order processing and everything. So building on Sushil's question, that's why I loved his question. We had different ERP systems managing different sections, like JDA for the demand forecasting, something else for the sales guys and then something else for the processing, the order processing. We had we often found it difficult to connect everything together. So we had constant meetings, manual meetings with the sales guys for me to predict the forecast for 18 years, rolling forecast, everything. We had Excel sheets running. I created to make my life easy. So what my question is that this agent that you're talking about, could it marry everything, all this thing in one organization at least? The JDA to iScala to different ERPs that we are using. Is that possible if we build if a demand planner has to build an agent, will it help for the entire predictive forecasting and everything that we have to do month on month that we did? Will it help a demand planner?
No, absolutely, it would, right? The problem that you're stating is universal. Just about every enterprise goes through this exact same problem. And we as industry have tried to solve this in many ways, starting from introducing middlewares and even BPM softwares and all sorts of API-led integrations. And we tried to solve this problem in many ways, including recent RPA, right? Robotic process automation. Before, there was nothing really intelligent about that. That's how I felt. But RPA is a way of really getting information from one to the other, without using real APIs and things like that. Now, how is that going to change? I think if you haven't really subscribed to Operator, I guess that's the offering from OpenAI. It's really similar in the lines of RPA, but it can take data from one system and automatically put it in the other, or pull it all into Excel spreadsheets and then perform some analysis and give you some insights. It's in the early stages still, but there's a lot that can be achieved.
I missed that
Operator,
name.
Operator from OpenAI.
OpenAI Operator. Okay. You can see it on the YouTube channel. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So that can take you quite far. Beyond that, the integration platforms are also sort of evolving quite a bit in the way how intelligent process automation can happen. So again, the change management with enterprises is a big pain, and hence that is the biggest thing that is going to slow us down. So any products that we as product managers here in this group create, please do consider, obviously, the Clayton Christensen principle of how do you resist, how do you improve the change resistance in your product. Whatever you're going to create, the change resistance is something that you really have to be taking a serious consideration into. So clearly your organization can take advantage straight away as well. You just have to pay $250 a month and start automation. In fact, I'm doing my own personal market research using Operator. I just, before this session, I kicked off a Operator. Can you go search all these places and then pull some data so I can really see afterwards. So yeah, it is quite powerful.
So that connects between JDA and SAP and iScala, all those, all the ERPs that a company uses, all the information along with the sales data.
Lekha will need to kill the session because we are not getting recording beyond 3 hours.
Okay, so, I'll connect separately.
Yeah, we can connect offline and we can answer the questions.
Thank you, Murli.
I just have one question, if time permits. It's a very generic question, not very specific. So I just want to understand how early adoption is happening across industries, like considering there could be some banking industry which might be resisting just because of insecure coding practice or something. So just on a very high level, I wanted to understand the adoption across industries or domains.
Sorry, I was answering with my mute on. In terms of industries, well, I live in Australia. Australia is really, really slow in adopting new technologies. So I'll exclude Australia. In general, if I were to really answer which industries, legal is super fast in the way how they're adopting, purely because it is going to disrupt quite a bit. That's number one. The other areas are compliance. Even if you look at Y Combinator, they are asking for products that can really solve compliance management for businesses. Why? Because compliance until now has been a very difficult problem to solve. We as organizations have been just somehow doing lip service for compliance, not really done a good job. But with language models, we can do amazing stuff with compliance. So in general, compliance is something that's adopting quite rigorously, and legal, and in general, I guess customer service with Intercom doing fantastic job. Even we, in my other organization, we have leveraged that. So customer success is improving quite a bit. In sales and marketing, we know that's quite a common area that gets quite a bit of traction with AI adoption as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Murli, for your time. And Sakshi, if we can stop the recording and we can wind the session up here.
Awesome. All right, Murli, thank you so much for spending